Well, footy fans, finals time has come for another year, and we're already underway here at H.E Parker with the Division 4 game between Mooralbark and Coldstream in its final stages. And we're also getting ready to bring you another edition of a battle between two great sides in the Deakin University EFNL Women's Competition. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to H.E Parker Reserve for the second semi-final in Division 1 between the Basin and Boronia. My name is John O'Ven, and it's a pleasure to be back with you on the airwaves this morning on YouTube and soon to be Facebook. I'm also joined by a key member of our media team, Dylan Smith. Good morning, Dylan. It's great to have you.
Super excited to be here, mate. Not only are these two teams that we're going to watch today have been the best two teams in this division, but they're also local rivals sharing a border at the bottom of Mount Dandenong there. So I think they even share a newspaper, so that always makes the clash a little bit more spicy.
Well, you know, if you think about that, you know, you've got one side of the complex barracking for one team and the other side barracking for the other. Question to you, though. It's your first final series, and you're back in the place where you had your first boundary riding gig.
Full circle.
But this time you're calling. How are you feeling? Feeling all right?
Yeah, mate. Super excited, really. Like, you've just got that sort of... the season's changing, you've got finals, the smell of it in the air, so couldn't be more excited.
Indeed. Well, we've got a very special guest joining us, Scott Nicholas from Boronia. Welcome. It's great to have you.
Thanks, Jono. Good to be here, mate.
So, perfect day for footy. Doesn't get any better. You've had a fairly good season. And how are the girls feeling ahead of today's game?
I think we've all just been feeling really excited. I think the way the season's shaped out, we've probably known the Basin and Park Orchards and ourselves will be there at the pointy end, and it was probably just a case of which order we'd finish on the ladder. So we've played the Basin quite a lot the last couple of years now, so you know, we're excited to play them again. They're a great team and we've got some really good players, and I think reflecting on last year when we played them in the first final to this year, we're a lot more nervous last year. I think we've got a little bit more confidence that, you know, we're playing some good footy, and I think we're all just excited to get out there and get stuck into it today.
This is going to be the third meeting between the two sides, and when it came to the home and away season, the results are a little bit lopsided, but what were your takings from those two battles, and how are you going to apply that today?
I think as much we take things from our opposition as we take things from ourselves. I think over the course of the year, we've aimed to be a team that continues to grow and develop every week, and you know, that hasn't changed from round 14 to the first final. We were looking for ways to improve what we're doing. So I think, you know, we know what it looks like when we're playing our best footy, and we probably feel like we've identified some ways that the Basin generates some of their good football, and, you know, I guess that's footy. We try and stop them doing what they want to do, and we try and find ways to do the things that make us play well. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say on that one.
Take us back to that mid-season period, because you started the season well, and then you had a couple of losses there in a row to the Basin and also to Park Orchards. Then on the back of that, you sort of went on a bit of a rampage towards the end of the season, and you probably look like the #1 seed in the league. What sort of changed there, do you think?
I think the fixture was difficult in Div 1. Every team was really strong and competitive, but the way the ladder fell, it was probably that clear top three, and then a couple of teams probably struggling for numbers down the bottom. So I think that played a part, and I think what changed after those two games against the Basin and Park Orchards is the squad just really finding their belief. We've known they've been a good team, you know, from last season playing in Premier B, but, you know, we've talked about wanting to be a great team as the season went on, and I think, you know, playing against great opposition gives you confidence that you can match them and then hopefully take it to another level. So I think they found that belief in the second half of the year, and as I said, we've just aimed to keep growing and developing every week, and we feel like we've done that, and we're really excited to, you know, get out there today and try and build on last week again.
Just on those other two sides, Park Orchards and North Ringwood, who will play off, one of you today will obviously lose this game and have to meet one of those. Which one would you prefer to miss or prefer to avoid?
On their day, you don't want to play the Basin or Park Orchards when they're playing well. I think they're different teams. The Basin have some really strong physical players, and I think Park Orchards, they've played footy together for a number of years, so they're just a really good team with some real pace as well. So, yeah, I mean, 1-1 versus the Basin and 1-1 versus Park Orchards, I think the aim is today we play well and we get a week off and we don't have to worry about playing either of them next week.
And back to today's game, where do you think you can exploit a weakness here for the Basin?
I think where we've played well against the Basin is when we've backed ourselves to play our game and get the ball into space and run. So if we can do that again today, there's a lot of space out here at Heathmont. We're really confident in our game style and the girls are really excited to put on a show today. So the Basin are a great quality opposition and they've done it for years. So I think if we can get a good start and find that belief early, anything can happen.
All the best to you, Scott. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. Best of luck to you and indeed for the rest of the year.
Awesome. If I can throw one more thing at the end, guys, it would just be congratulations on all the work you've done in covering the women's competition this year.
So much.
I think the media team of the EFNL has gone above and beyond to make sure that there's equity in the way that the men's and women's competitions have been promoted and celebrated. And we've probably seen from other leagues recently that it isn't the case everywhere.
Yes.
So I just wanted to shout out in this forum that the whole media team's done such an excellent job and it's definitely recognised by the players and all the families and clubs. So, yeah, well done and good luck for the call today.
Appreciate
Thanks
your
very
words
much,
there.
Scott.
Yeah, cheers.
And all the best again. Well, that was Scott Nicholas from the Boronia Hawks, and indeed his counterpart, Mark Eisenweiss, is very soon to join us. And we're going to cover a couple of games in terms of predictions and that a little bit later, Dill. But I tell you, I feel like Scott's a little bit optimistic about this one.
He is, and rightly so. I think what he said there too about their run and their pace, that really stood out in the two games previous. So I think that'll be the area that he'll be most looking to exploit the Basin.
Did indeed. Well, as I said, we do have Scott's counterpart in Mark Eisenweiss joining us. Welcome, Mark. It's great to have you on the broadcast.
Hi, thanks, guys. Nice to be here.
So you get to this point in the season with someone like Danielle Brotto as a weapon as she is, and what a great inclusion she's been this year to your team.
Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, Brotto obviously came across this year, as well as another person. And, yeah, they came from Rowville, and she was dangerous down there as well. But as soon as she got to the club, she's got great energy. She certainly leads well from the forward line and, finishes off the good work that the rest of the team does.
We just spoke about Boronia's strengths heading into today, and we talked about their run as being an area where they could probably get you guys. Does that worry you coming into the game with the amount of leg speed they have?
Actually, no, because something that we worked on all year in pre-season was our fitness. So we think our fitness is up to standard, so it'll be good hit out.
Equally with their run, I think you guys probably have them a little bit aerially. Do you think that's an area you can exploit them today?
Oh, look, I think we've got perhaps a couple more tools than they do. And our tools are very capable and strong hands. So it depends how the game's played, but we'll see, yeah.
I asked Scott this, and likewise I'm going to ask you. This is your third meeting with Boronia this year. What have been your takings from the two home and away encounters, given that the scorelines were a bit lopsided in both instances?
Yeah, I think our first encounter at Tormore is more likely to what you're going to see today. Yeah, at Tormore, I think we both had our strongest sides in. Nothing to take away from Boronia. I mean, they played fantastic when they met us at home. My feeling is they tend to play a little bit better on a smaller ground, and a little bit more open space kind of suits us. So looking at today's ground, it's kind of halfway in the middle. So, yeah, it'll be a good challenge.
Just wanted to throw you one about Zoe Haratos. She was one of your best players in the two meetings earlier in the season. I rewatched the match of the day this week, and she was excellent in that game. What's she out with an injury or?
Yeah, look, everyone loves Haritos. She's a superstar. She just came from basketball, so this is her first year in footy. What an amazing girl, ball sense, game sense, endeavour. She's one in a million. She's a really good player. But yeah, so unfortunately, yeah, she got an injury, and we'll miss her today. But we've got a pretty strong side still.
I guess with Haritos out, it won't really dampen the effects of the other Zoe Alston. We saw her in the match of the round. She was brilliant alongside her other Zoe. But I guess what sort of impact are you hoping that she has today? Pretty much the same as always. She's been a very consistent performer, hasn't she?
You said that. That's exactly the word I was going to use, consistent. So she's a major part of our engine room. So you'll just see her go time and time and time again, second, third, fourth efforts. She's a fierce competitor.
The other one I wanted to ask you about was Talbot, and I wanted to know where she's going to play. Named in defence, I think she was in the team sheet. Played up forward last time. Where's she going to play? A bit of a swing?
So that's another amazing story at the club. First year of footy as well.
Incredible.
She's played forward. She could ruck if we needed her to, and she's named back today. She's just got brilliant hands, great footy smarts for a first-year player.
Well, thank you so much, Mark, for joining us. All the best today. It's a great day for footy, and indeed, all the best for the rest of the year.
Thanks, boys. Thank you.
So Mark Eisenweiss there, and indeed Scott Nicholas from before. And, well, Dill, this is going to be a great one, I reckon, and we're shaping up for an absolute ripping contest.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've mentioned it quite a few times, but it's ever more intriguing, this one, with those two matchups that a little bit of a head scratcher, the second one, where Boronia got up by 47 points. And he just mentioned there that it's more likely that we'll see the game at Tormore, which was decided by 10 points. So that pleases me a lot.
So let's have a look at the final series across the board. Of course, naturally, we might begin with Division 1 before we get into this game. And it's going to be the Park Orchards against North Ringwood very, very soon. Who have you got for that one? Now, I can understand who you've got, but for the viewers who haven't read the article, go read it on the AFNL website for the finals predictions week 1. Who have you got and why?
I've got Park Orchards by 45 points. This division's been, highlighted by these two teams at the top in the Basin and Boronia. And Park Orchards aren't far off those two sides. They've beaten Boronia this year. And they've just been there's been a gap to the next two teams, which was North Ringwood and Knox, who were fighting it out for that 4th place. And I think the average winning margin was around 50 points for Park Orchards in the 2 meetings that they had against North Ringwood. And I just think they have too much talent on the field to drop this one.
In Division 2, we've got Waverley Blues and East Burwood. And I tell you what, listen to the crowd out here at H.E Parker. It was the first game here that started off at 9 o'clock. And we've already got a fair crowd in the house.
They're pumped.
But I digress. Division 2, Waverley Blues and East Burwood. Now, I can't help but notice you've tipped the Waverley Blues. That's a massive call here in Division 2.
It is, and this is a fascinating game. The Waverley Blues got off to an enormous start in their first year back in the EFNL. 8 wins out of their first 9. They sat in the top 2 for a lot of the season, but their back half of the year has been shaky. And that brings East Burwood back into it. We know the stars that East Burwood have and that they won the Division 3 Grand Final last year. So, they're a very well-established side. Cecilia Baldessar, one of their stars up forward, who's won the goal kicking at a canter. I have tipped the Waverley Blues by 10 points.
That's a massive call.
Yeah.
But I think they've got... I really think they've got it in them, to be honest. I think you're actually onto something. I'm tipping an upset. I know how good the East Burwood Rams have been all season. They have had Baldessar and a whole host of others. Ali Rock, Bronte Rowlands, those types of operators. And they have been absolutely fantastic this season. But who knows? Finals footy for the Waverley Blues, by reputation, is a great one. You look at the men's team and they are absolutely fantastic. And now, looking at the women's team, it's inaugural women's team, well, in a while, of course. They're getting set to play finals footy in their first campaign in a long time. And that must feel pretty good.
And we have to acknowledge, too, that they have had some outs in the back half of the season to explain that form, drop the Waverley Blues. And also, when you win your first 8 of your first 9 games, you do have the ability to be able to, rest some players and sort of coast to the finish line a little bit. So I think coming into finals, if they can recapture what they were doing in the first half of the season, they'll be good things for this game.
We're going to jump back to the top just briefly in Premier Division. There are going to be 2 games in that one. The first one, of course, the SBL Wolves and Mount Evelyn. Now, both of these games, of course, will be tomorrow at H.E Reserve. So go get yourself to those games. It's going to be a fantastic contest no matter who's playing. And, SBL and Mount Evelyn, 2 teams who have just been on the outer somewhat, because we've always been talking about, you know, the South Croydons, the Eastern Devils kind of thing. But these two teams, well, they deserve to be there after a really interesting season. South Belgrave, Listerfield, they do have the talent. Don't know too much about Mount Evelyn, but of course we're going to start to get to know about them in the coming weeks. And I see you've tipped SBL. I'm probably going to stick with that, to be honest. What would you say?
I think you're spot on about the narrative too. We always talk about the Eastern Devils, South Croydon, and then we tend to talk a bit about the bottom of the table too. I know Whitehorse had a really exciting end to the season, Vermont, and then these two sides sitting in third and fourth just sort of went a little bit forgotten. Mount Evelyn, a bit of a struggling end to the season, and that's probably where my tip lies with the SBL Wolves here. I think the SBL Wolves have just been a little bit more solid. They've been able to challenge those top two sides, whereas Mount Evelyn's form on the road a little bit shaky. And again, similar to the North Ringwood and Park Orchards one, I think SBL will just have a little bit too much talent. You know, 7 wins, 5 losses versus 5 wins, 7 losses kind of says it all there. And yeah, got to go with the SBL Wolves. Before we get to the second game in the Premier Division, which will be played tomorrow, we should note that the final score from the Division 4 game between Mooroolbark and Coldstream is 5-8-38. The Mustangs defeated Coldstream 2-3-15. So congratulations to Mooroolbark. They advance, and it's pretty huge considering that Karen Ralph, she's a bit of a seasoned campaigner. Now, even though she's the assistant coach, she gets to have that premiership, well, potential premiership taste once again. She has, of course, in 2019 at the helm of an absolute legendary women's football club in the St Kilda Sharks. But now she gets her chance to have that shot in Eastern Footy League history. And Mooroolbark over the past 5 to 6 weeks have just been on an absolute rampage. I think Josh said it, average winning margin in the past 6 weeks are around 60 points. So, you know, they're playing better footy than anyone in that Division 4. And I honestly, you've got Mitcham there, you've got Coldstream. We've seen what they've done to Coldstream today. I can't really see anyone beating them in this division. You're a few points short off the prediction, I might just add. You tipped Mooroolbark by 28, but it was just a little bit off there by about 5 points. Let's get back to Premier Division then. And it's a game that, of course, is another grand final edition, grand final rematch. Of course, the two teams, the Eastern Devils and South Croydon, played here for Premier A Grand Final glory, and the Eastern Devils won that one. The Eastern Devils, of course, undefeated in season 2023. Everybody knows I'm going with the Devils, and you've gone with the Devils as well. I have tipped the Devils by 25 points. I mean, it's really difficult to tip against a team that is undefeated, although I will say I did do that in Division 2 this week, tipping Surrey Park over East Ringwood. But back to the Devils, a flawless season. The only thing that I will say in looking at the results, as the season's gone on, teams have figured them out a little bit. And some of those better teams in the division, like your SBL Wolves, like your South Croydons, have pushed them a little bit closer as the season's gone on. I think they even had a close result with Vermont there a few weeks back. So they're fallible, I think, the Devils. But, you know, when you've got that sort of winning momentum and players who have played in flags and know how to win, they're going to be hard to stop. Absolutely. Well, that brings to a close for the moment the preview for the other teams. If you want to listen to anything in relation to the divisions that we've missed, of course, don't forget to tune in to Deakin University Female Footy Focus, wherever you get your podcasts. I know, Dylan, you're a key part of that show alongside Josh Ward, who is actually in the building, I might add. I did see him here, yeah. And he's going to be on Scores this afternoon for the men's match of the round, which is going to be equally as big, and we're going to go up the mountain for that one after we're done. But let's look at this one. Of course, between the Basin and Boronia, the second semi-final here at H.E Parker. The two sides met twice this year, and in round 6, which was the match of the round, it was the Basin 4-6-30 over Boronia 3-2-20 out at Tormore. And in round 8, the Basin lost to the Hawks 2-1-13 to Boronia 9-6-60 out at Basin Reserve. So we talked about, you know, those lopsided score lines with the coaches, and to be honest, in finals footy, I don't think any of that probably matters too much. Yeah, it's really hard to get a read on, though. You know, playing each other 2 weeks apart and having that big of a swing in the margin. What is it, a 57-point turnaround for Boronia there? But I'm just fascinated in the styles of the two teams. You've got the Basin, they're that more contested style. They're a bit stronger around the ball, I think, than Boronia. They've got more marking players, so they're going to have targets. But Boronia, where they're going to get the Basin today, I think, is those small defenders and the run off half-back. You know, got Leapson, those sorts of players are where the game's really going to be won for them. And if it's going to come down to a few things. We talked to the coach there about the Basin's fitness, but yeah, I'm just fascinated to see how this one plays out.
5 minutes to go before the game. In fact, it's about 4 as the umpires make their way out onto the field, and one of those field umpires is just waiting for the siren to signify that we're almost ready to go here. Of course, the umpires today, Toby Culprit, Matthew Rowe in field, and in the boundary riding discipline, it's the two Ryans, Nadav and Shalev. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. I apologise if I haven't. And of course, in goals, Graham Banks and Blake Lavelle. So we're not too far away, and I understand perhaps that our boundary rider, Kate Green, is somewhere out there just in front of the interchanges bench. Good morning to you, Kate.
Good morning, guys. I'm just getting myself set up, and yeah, I'm looking forward to a really fantastic game between these two teams.
We're going to ask Dylan for his sip at the moment, in a moment, but can we start with you? Who have you got, and by how much?
I am forever and always neutral, as a good media person should be.
Well, we can still make a prediction if we wish. Dylan,
Good luck, guys.
That being said, thank you very much, Kate. We'll chat to you soon. Dylan, you're tipping by how much?
I've gone back and forth on this one. I've got to stick with what I tipped in the article, I think, just to be consistent. So I went with Boronia by 2 points. I definitely think we're going to see a game similar to that one at Tormore back in round 6, the match of the day, where the Basin ran out by 10 points. But I think this one's going to go to Boronia by under a goal. I just think they've just found it in this back half of the season. What about you, Jono? We haven't really heard from you on who you think's going to win this one.
Speaking of Boronia, out they come onto the field. Of course, the Basin have come out a few minutes prior.
Did we get your tip, Jono?
I'm going to tip Boronia. I've been a big fan of their work this year. And
so we're both Boronia.
We are both Boronia, but that doesn't mean it's going to be a Boronia call. We love these teams equally, and this is going to be a great contest. And like you said, well, to be honest, we spoke to the Basin coach, Mark, about Zoe Alston. I can't wait to see her do her thing. It's going to be fantastic.
Boundary.
Down to Kate.
Let's head down to Kate.
Winner of the coin toss was Boronia, and they've chosen the southern end of the ground.
Thank you very much, Kate. So there's your coin toss, and gee, I love this place, H.E Parker. It is, as I've described, the field of dreams.
The field of dreams. I like that. It looks in really good condition. The coach has mentioned that it's the wide open spaces. The Basin said, the coach there said that would suit them. I sort of feel like it might suit Boronia a little bit more with the wide open spaces. How do you feel about that, Jono?
Oh, yeah, I think so too. It's all about how the teams can use the footy and find the open space. Obviously, in the women's game, you know, open space is a bit hard to come by because in one way or another, everybody wants a taste of the footy. And so it's about using that open space and finding options further abroad that can actually break open the wall.
And I think in a finals game too, there will be that tendency to be attracted to the football. You want to get in there and win the contest, and I think it will be quite contested, but it's probably the team that does hold their width a little bit and can use the field a bit better.
So we get underway momentarily. Boronia have broken their huddle, but the Basin out in position and ready to go. Just waiting for the Hawks to take their positions. But this is, of course, Deakin University female footy finals for the second time so far. Broadcast on the Eastern FNL socials and indeed YouTube. But to get us underway, you're with Dylan Smith.
And it's the Basin who win out in the first contest, but Boronia have sharked it. Here's Winbanks, who's trying to get on the end of it. Ends up going there to Quirk. She sends them towards the 50. It's marked by Greenold. So she just scans the field. She's looking for an option, decides to go short, centrally there, and finds the ruckman in McCage. She heads inside 50, just puts it up to the spot. Pack forms, comes off hands. There's Basin players around it, but as are Boronia, and I think we're going to have our first ball up around 35 to 40 metres out from the Boronia goal. So good start for Boronia. They win that first clearance. As Quirk goes up in the ruck this time. It's cleared out by the Basin. Smothered though. Here's Kufel. Gets it back. Davidson sends them further inside 50. Mark can't be taken. At the ground level. And another ball up, just edging closer towards the Boronia goal. They're taking the territory early in this one. As Quirk sharks it out of the ruck, snaps.
Wow.
And I think that's a goal. Amazing there by Rachel Quirk. And she's been extremely dangerous this season. Missed one of the earlier fixtures that the Basin got up, and that's massive, Jono.
It is indeed, and I might just add, just for the viewers watching at home, if you've watched AFL, you'll hear this phrase quite a bit. Rachel Quirk has a basketball background, everybody. And that's the only time I'll probably say that this broadcast. Unlike how many times you're watching Scott Pendlebury and they'll say that. But nevertheless, a big start for the Hawks, and we'll do it once again.
And
the ball
the
down,
Basin
it comes.
this time.
It is the Basin this time. They come down very, very close to their end. Picked it up well. Did Murrell, but it's on the ground. McCage left it behind. Alston was in there, left it behind as well. Great tackle there laid by Phillips. And they try and come out, Boronia, but they're going to be cut short. The kick comes forward as Carroll tries to chase it, but players hit the deck. And it's going to be a ball up. So it landed in the hands of Jamie Monk, who's one to watch today. 48 from goal. Monk was in the ruck. Quirk came out from the ruck contest, and then out the back door was McCage. Kick was okay for Perrott. And Boronia are inside 50 once more. Bouncing ball. This is going to sit for Greenhalgh, or is it? Picks up the footy. Got a little bit of help. Gets it off to a teammate. Boronia, though, sprayed it. It goes out of bounds. And the Basin to bring this one in, Dill.
Yeah, I think that's Baker who's got the kick. Deep in defensive 50. She does go back there to take those kick-ins just to settle the Basin down. And the speed of Boronia apparent from the offset. So she heads long, just goes up to the contest. Quirk's there for Boronia. She just waits at the back. Watts at the foot of the ball for the Basin. Tries to charge through. We'll have another ball up. And looks like Quirk's doing the rucking for Boronia. She just tries to tap it forward. All the numbers with Boronia. Davidson heads towards goal. It's a flying kick and rush through for another behind for Boronia. So all the momentum with them so far. We've got runners on the outside and players winning the ball on the inside of the contest, and a really good start for them, Jono.
It is indeed. So the Basin can bring it in again. That's Julia Baker in the back line. Options present on the near side. Big pack of players set to form. Wingbanks tried, then couldn't. And then it was Watt was in there as well. Still a chance, though, for both teams to find the clearance, and it's the Basin to win out on this occasion. One-on-one contest. Nobody could quite get there. And then there was glare for the Hawks involved in the contest. But the umpire says nothing doing. It's my ball. He throws up the ball. Quirk left it behind, instead decided to collect it off the ruck. Ball hits the deck. McCage was trying to pick up the footy. Quirk gets involved in there again. Great tackle there laid by Talbot. She's going to be one to watch as well in this game. But I think it was penalised there, and Slater sends it inside 50.
As they look for another one here, Boronia, they've got the runners. This is Kufel. She leaves it behind. It's picked up by the Basin player. And I think he might have paid a throw there, has he? Free kick to Phillips. 15 metres out on a slight angle.
Boundary.
Thanks, Kate.
Paid a throw. You were correct, Dylan.
Thanks very much for that.
Yeah, just Left it behind there, and Phillips heads the goal, and she's got it. So that's 2 for Boronia. Perfect start for them. And the Basin are going to have to try to get back into this one. All the runs so far with Boronia.
Quirk and Phillips with the goals so far. And that's her 18th goal this season, Steph Phillips.
It's all those dangerous players that we talked about in the pre-game, Jono. They're all coming to the fore in the finals.
It is indeed. And, well, Boronia lead 2-1-13. Inside 6 minutes. Up we go. Tap was one down by the Basin on this occasion, but cut off by Gottliebsen. She's got her sister playing in the opposition as well today. The Basin, though, going to move it in. I think that's Winbanks sending it in. Bouncing footy. Very close to the paint. Although a free kick's been given away.
Carroll.
And it's Carroll to take it. 2 goals last week v Knox. She sends it to the hotspot. And it's a mark to the Basin. Monk. She's had 1 goal from 2 meetings against the Hawks. And she's got it from pretty much directly in front. Four times in best in the regular season. She sends it. Umpire Archers is back and the Basin have their first.
They needed that one, Jono.
Boundary.
Let's go down to the boundary with Kate Green.
That was a massive kick.
Oh, absolutely huge in the contest. And like you identified in pre-game, Kate, one of the X factors today. That's her 14th goal. Jamie Monk, the vice-captain for the Basin. So the score there, Basin 1 straight 6. Boronia 2-1-13. 7 minutes gone in the first term on the Deakin University scoreboard.
It was a great kick by Carroll to find her there. Just popped it up, played to the strengths. As Winbank gets the tip out in the middle. There's a lot of players around it here. Got a bit of a scrum forming, and we'll have a secondary ball up. So the Basin just getting that one back. They needed it as Monk does the rucking, kicks the goal and then heads straight in there. Taps it towards Gottliebsen's there. It's kicked out by the Basin though. Here's Carroll again.
Oh, a bit of front on.
Huge contact there. And it's Brotto. Brotto's over it. Is it a push in the back?
Danger player,
Here's
look
Watt.
out.
Watt on the outside. Kicks towards goal.
Wow.
It's in the post.
Almost.
And there's a lot of energy coming into this game.
There is 5 consecutive X factors here on this team sheet for the Basin. And they're all coming to the fore here.
And Boronia do not want to let Brotto get one out like that. She was well defended, though.
They don't indeed, and she also plays for Boronia in the netball. Can you believe that?
I do remember you mentioning that, actually, yeah.
So Amanda Solante, hopefully we're pronouncing that correctly. She goes down broadcast side. It's going to be cut off by Grimmett, though.
Boundary.
Let's go down to the boundary with Kate Green.
As Mark mentioned for Coach of Basin, he considers pretty much all of his team X Factor.
Pretty much, indeed, as we're seeing here at the moment here at H.E Parker. Bit of work here for the Basin to do to try and clear it out of the current area as the pressure is piled on here by Boronia.
It's gone up a notch.
But the umpire says nothing doing, and the Rucks will go to work. So Winbanks and Quirk. Quirk wins out on this occasion. Great tackle there laid by Donnelly. But the umpire says nothing doing. He'll have it. Up we go again. Winbanks and Quirk. Bouncing footy. Who can get to it first? Looked like Phillips. Clearing ball to open space. Chasing it is Slater along with her opponent. But both teams just a little bit in arrears when it comes to gaining clear possession of the footy. Paige Dean is at ground level, along with McDowell, but we'll have a ball up inside the centre square.
It's Winbanks this time who gets the hit out. Can't be cleared though. Good tackle there by Slater. It's in close. Julia Baker's there too. Watt tries to rip it out. She can't. Flicks out a handball. Thought I heard a whistle. Didn't. Baker gets a handball. So it's Basin on the outside. Kicks up the wing. Looks for Carroll. There's 2 there. I think it's Samargas. They both lay the shepherd for each other and just get a bit tied in knots there. It's picked up. I think Carroll's going to send them back towards 50. She's tackled there by Glare. Glare gets the handball out, gets it to Decker. She just throws it on the boot and makes it someone else's problem. The Basin get the handball out, but here's Phillips in an acre of space that she's found herself in. Greenall hits her in the face, a bit of a falcon there. And that's Dean. She's over it. Can't get it out cleanly. It's a great tackle there by Baker. Baker just reefs it back in, and a ball up.
So this is what Dean does best. She's lurking around the contest, ready to snatch it and then go for goal.
Very
Watch her
clever forward.
here. Up goes the ball. And it's Grimmett to try and clear it. Gets it off to a teammate. Almost caught high. In fact, she was. And the Basin have a chance to clear out for the moment. Alston sends it out. 2-on-1. Gottliebsen gets it to the paint. 2-on-1 again. Chance for McCage. Might have been infringed with all, except did we hear a whistle? No, we didn't. Play on's the call. There are a few whistles around here, Dylan. I can't just be the only one hearing it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kate.
At the moment, the umpire down the southern end is just calling it for just all clear, keep going.
Right.
Okay. Interesting. So play will continue
Sorry,
here.
guys, that's just what he's doing at the moment.
Okay. Thanks for that, Kate. 11 minutes and 24 seconds here gone in the first term. Up we go. About 35 from goal. Boronia caught off it. And a free kick has been duly awarded.
I think it's Julia Baker.
So a chance here. In fact, no, it's going the other way. So Julia Baker to bring it in from defence.
She heads out wide. She's got a player there. It's a beautiful kick. Just putting it out into the front. And I'll go up the line, look for Winbanks. She's the target, but Watt's also there. They're both there, and Watt takes the mark. I think the umpires paid that one. They both had hands on it. Whoever wants to take it, basically, and that's marked over Rachel Slater there.
I just realised what the other whistles you're hearing is just down on the opposite side at the Maroondah nets. There's plenty of netball going on, and they use the same whistle, so fair enough.
As Boronia take the turnover here through Gottliebsen. She just tries to get it forward. And breaking through there was Greenhall. Fantastic play by her. Heads inside 50 towards Dean.
Here she is.
She's crafty, Dean. Slater tries to break through. That could have been high. And he's paid ball. He's paid holding the ball.
Slammed her in the back, in my view.
Yeah, and she ducked a little bit, and there was a bit of head-high contact as well, but fair enough as the Basin exit defence again. Rachel Watt's the target, and she takes another fantastic mark. So she's really implemented herself onto this game so far, Rachel Watt. She's been fantastic. Throws it on the left towards Winbanks. Winbanks tries to affect the contest, but can't. It's picked up by Gottliebsen. She drops it, and that's holding the ball as well. Terrific tackling here by the Basin. They've really lifted as Grimmett takes the kick this time. She looks to slow it down, goes for a short option there, and finds Murrell. So just slowing it down. The crowd are getting alive here. She heads towards the forward 50. Winbanks is there. Here's Samagas. She tracks it. She runs over the top of it. She's well pressured. Greenog's there. She kicks up the line, but it looks like it's going to be marked by the Basin, but she's able to bring it to ground. Rachel Quirk to Gottliebsen. Gottliebsen looks afield, and it's going to be marked there. Another turnover for the Basin. So they're holding firm in defence, the Basin.
They are indeed. Sending it down the line. Slater, there's one out there slightly. Phillips is there to collect it in the centre circle. Got it off to Davidson. Amanda Davidson, now it's inside 50. Dean's got a chase here. It's the Basin. Oh, that is a great tackle, and she's rewarded. A big tackle there for Paige Dean.
Great pressure.
The pocket rocket wins out. And she's got it about 60 from home. Gets it inside. Over the head of her intended target, but Phillips can have that sort of basketball kind of pass to herself. It's all to no avail, though, as Donnelly wrapped her up, and we've got a ball up about 15 from Boronia's goal. Decker with a big tackle there on Grimmett. Basin just trying to clear it out. Plenty of work to do here for both teams. Oh, she threw it out there. But Greenolg is out the back, looking for Dean. Couldn't take the mark. Off hands. Chance still for Boronia. Dean tried to recollect. Was she held without it?
I think it's holding the ball.
It was holding the ball.
Boundary.
Let's head down to the boundary with Kate Green.
Improper disposal.
So there you go. Certainly helps the Basin here. That the kick finds touch on the outer side, and Boronia are going to bring it in at the halfway point of the ground here at H.E Parker.
Fascinating contest so far as Boronia look to go inside 50 once more. Dean's underneath it and she gets pushed out. Here's Grimmett. Grimmett's going to have to find an option. She's tracked there by Phillips. And she just sort of gets a handball away. I think we'll have a ball up. About 25 metres out from the Boronia goal. They're really pressing at the moment and showing that run. Is Winbank. She just takes it out of the ruck and kicks it forward. She'll need a contest, but that's well marked by McCage. And she's going to send it back inside 50. They don't have the tall targets down there, do Boronia, though. And it just heads over the back. It's Grimmett. She's well tackled off the ball there. I think that's by Greenold.
Definitely was Greeno.
Fantastic tackle there, and she'll line up for her first goal on a bit of an angle, but pretty close to goal, Jono.
Indeed it is. And this is pretty important for them here. Let you ride this one home, Dylan. Fire up, mate.
Heads towards goal. It's on the line. I think she's got it. Runs in for the celebration, and that's Boronia's third goal of the day. They're 3-1-19 to the Basin 1-1-7.
So a goal to Delta there?
Believe so.
Yeah. Fantastic. So 3 individual goal kickers for Boronia. 3-1-19 plays 1-1-7. Just under 17 minutes gone here in the first term. And we're almost...
I saw the number 19 head in for the celebration, though, so maybe it wasn't her that kicked it.
Interesting. So we've
Please
got
note that Delta is wearing a number 39. I will just double check because I think they've done the numbers on us again.
No, I think that is Delta wearing the number 19, but there's a 565 infringement, so Quirk is going to send it inside her team's 50. And Phillips, at the end of the day, was at the fall there. Quirk was slightly pushed out of it, which enabled the Basin to come out. Samargas tried to move it out there, but it's cut off by Bree Watson. It's very close to the cricket pitch.
Boundary.
Let's go to the boundary with Kate Green.
That last goal was actually number 39 Mural, Lily Grace.
Thank you very much for that. So that's Lily Murrell with the goal.
As we have another ball up. And Rachel Slater's in there. She tries to pick it up, and she's well tackled by 2 Basin players. And not going anywhere with that one. And Boronia, they've been fantastic in this first quarter. So much run. Heads out. Kufel's there. It's just hacked out of the ground by the Basin, and a clever little mark there taken by McKernan. She'll head inside 50. They've set up really well behind the ball today, Boronia, as have the Basin, and this one's cleared out here by Baker. Heads towards Watt. She's been fantastic in the air. Makes a contest, kicks it forward. Heading towards it's Carroll, but it's picked up on the wing. Great tackle there. Fantastic by McKernan. She's had a couple of great moments, but it's picked up by Grimmett. She heads towards the forward 50. Can't find a target. Kufel's there, as is Rachel Slater. They've got numbers around the ball, Boronia. It's well held up by Grimmett. And we'll have another ball up. It's slightly towards the Basin goal, as Carroll does the rucking in there. Julia Baker tries to reef it out, kicks it inside 50. It's 2 players tracking it, Boronia in front. Can't pick it up now, she does. Watson holding the ball. Fantastic tackle.
That's huge.
That is a huge tackle there. And that is Murrell. And she's had a great start to this game. She'll look to go further inside 50. We haven't seen too much here from the key forward. And
that's huge from Slater.
Massive, massive intercept mark there by Rachel Slater in front of Brotto. And Brotto's been really well held so far in the start of this game, Jono.
She has indeed. And this is where things get a little bit interesting. Phillips on the opposite side of the ground. Fair distance from home, as she's normally accustomed to. But the siren sounds to signify quarter time. The score there, the Basin, 1-1-7. trailing Boronia 3-1-19. You're watching the Deakin University match of the round here at H.E Parker, semi-final 2, Boronia and the Basin. Back after this.
Hey guys, I made a
Welcome back to H.E Parker. It's a semi-final 2 between the Basin and Boronia here at H.E Parker Reserve, and it's quarter time. My name's John Event, joined by Dylan Smith. What a first quarter we just witnessed here. It's going to be a red-hot contest for the next 60 or so minutes. I'm looking very much forward to it, Dylan.
The pressure is so high, and you know the way that both teams are attacking the footy is fantastic, and I think both teams will be fairly happy, but we are seeing a little bit of a disparity in the run, I think, and the leg speed of Boronia really hurting the Basin so far. When the Basin are able to get it out and take some of those contested marks and win the contest, they're doing pretty well, but definitely getting beaten for pace by Boronia.
We're about to get coaches' messages thanks to, indeed, the coaches. So that's going to be great as Kate Green's just waiting patiently on the boundary here at H.E Parker. The goal scorers for the Basin, it's just the vice-captain in Jamie Monk with the single. And for Boronia, Rachel Quirk, straight out of the blocks with the first goal of the game. Steph Phillips and Tamlin Collins, who returns from injury. So that's pretty huge for her.
Yeah. And all those players playing so well for Boronia, the likes of Greenolg, Gottliebsen, Quirk, Phillips, Slater, they're all playing, super games. And I think that if you took the best players on that first quarter, they'd all be in there. I think we need to see a little bit more from Danielle Brotto.
Yeah.
She hasn't really gotten into the game. I'd like to see her push a little bit higher up the ground and just get a few touches to get into this game.
So let's head down to the boundary, and Kate Green is going to be with Mark Eisenweiss.
Hi, Mark. Just wondering what the message was to the girls for this second quarter.
Keep smiling, keep the pressure up, and be there for each other. Make sure we keep the talk up. We won a lot of the ball, but we're actually down in our kicks and in ineffective kicks. So just talk more, get around each other, and it'll turn our way.
Okay, thanks very much, Mark.
Thanks very much again to Mark and Kate for that. The huddle for Boronia is yet to be broken. Scott Nicholas just issuing the quarter time address. And they break as they often do.
Just about to grab Scott now.
So let's head down once again as Kate heads down to Scott, and we'll hear from Scott Nicholas, the Boronia coach.
Yeah. Keep moving.
Scott, just a quarter message to the girls for the second quarter.
I think we just want to keep trusting what we're doing. We got the start we wanted. We wanted a fast start, and now it's just about that consistency in the second quarter. They're bringing a lot of physical pressure. We just got to trust what we're doing and stand up to it. So that's a message.
Thank you. All the best.
As the Basin head inside 50 here, a great start from them, but Gottliebson tries to tear it away. Well tackled by Samagas. Samagas picks it up, just throws it on the boot, looking for territory. And it comes off Watson in the end. I believe we'll have a ball up from that one. Will do. So the perfect start for the Basin, winning the clearance and getting it forward. They just need to put some goal pressure on Boronia. The two rucks go at it. Phillips is there. Gets a handball out to Quirk. Quirk kicks up the line towards Davidson. She's beaten out there well by Donnelly, it is. And we'll have another ball up. Cagey so far in this second quarter. Important for the Basin to get an early goal here, Jono.
Hard ball to win, indeed. And Boronia, well, Steph Phillips just thought about kicking, but she instead passed to a teammate slightly behind the play. It's backfired as the Basin try and get inside 50 again. Players lurking in and around, left, right, front, behind, but the umpire says 49 metres out from the Basin goal. He's going to ball it up. He does just that. Winbanks wins the tap out quite easily. We're going to do it all again.
Boundary.
For the moment, let's head down to the boundary.
Just quickly, there was a lovely moment between 46 Basin and 30 of Boronia. Boronia had the ball and the Basin had her behind and just lifted her off the ground.
Love to see good sportsmanship in well, every division of EFNL football, has to be said. And we'll go up and around again. Quirk on hands and knees, just trying to break that footy free, but Winbanks is putting on the pressure. Kate Green, of course, mentioned Winbanks in that act of sportsmanship between Alex McCage and the aforementioned. Slater in there, weaves in and under, lost the footy in the end. Boronia still have it. Now in the centre circle, fend-off was pretty good there from Davidson. And the umpire's given away a free kick. Or has he? Yes, he has.
Yeah, ball.
So, ball's going for Donnelly. She'll send it in.
Kicks it inside 50 to the contest. Players lurking, and it just comes off hands. And the Boronia player is wrapped up there by Carroll, and we'll have another ball up. Inching towards the Basin goal. Carroll does the ruck duties, hits it out, but it's Slater who takes it for Boronia. Just puts it out into space. Two players track it there. It's Perrott for Boronia. She's tracked closely by the Basin player, and we'll have another ball up. Both teams finding it hard in this quarter to get any space as Winbanks just punches it forward inside 50, but Slater's there at ground level again. She flicks a handball over to Davidson, who goes on a dashing run, puts it out into space for, I think it's Greenold there. She tracks it, but she's got company. Tries to swing around, she gets caught, she flicks a handball out.
Clever.
Umpire calls play on, and Boronia have the numbers. They head inside 50. Hits it up here towards, I think that's Collins this time.
Kufel's got it back.
And it'll be holding the ball.
Penalised. So that's great work there. Great pressure from Brooke Priest, who's definitely one to watch today. Sent the kick towards Alston. Managed to weave it behind her, but then see it over the boundary line right at the junction here at broadcast side at H.E Parker. And, well, she's one of those players that are a bit quiet at the moment, but with a lead will come plenty of spotlight appearances for Zoe Alston as Quirk tried to weave her way in and under. Baker was under that as well. Greenhalgh lays the tackle on with Quirk. The tackle on Wimbanks, and
Boundary.
Wimbanks and Quirk will go again. Slater back to Quirk. Quirk sends it goalward. Kick was looking there for Collins. Goal kicker already. Now it's just a bit of work here for players to weave in and under. They're not going to do it, so we'll get to the boundary with Kate Green.
Boundary, number 50 for the Basin, Smargus, is just undergoing some trainer management.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, Samaga, she's been in a lot of contests in and under, so I'm not surprised she's getting some treatment. Had a few knocks. As Boronia will get a free kick here, this time through Rachel Slater. She'll line up from 30 metres out directly in front and look to give Boronia a 3-goal lead. And those big players for Boronia have really stood up. Rachel Quirk's been massive in this quarter. As Slater comes in, kicks it, she's got the distance, but she's just drifted it across the side and out of bounds on the full. I think so. And it'll be Baker to bring us back in. Nope, they're swapping the footy around.
So it was, well, it was going to be last touch anyway, wasn't it? So
yeah. Windbanks brings us back in. Bit of a dangerous kick. Slater's there, as is Quirk. She bursts through, gives a handball to Phillips. She's well tackled by Alston. And that could have been holding the ball as well, but we'll just have another ball up inside Boronia's forward 50. The pressure, fantastic from both teams so far. As Rachel Quirk goes up in the ruck, she's been in everything, but Wimbacks gets a hit out. Slater tries to burst through, and she's caught. No prior opportunity, says the umpire.
Brodie Wingbanks, of course, tied to Port Melbourne in the VFL, who are premiers in 2023. They won at their own home ground. So maybe she might be able to add a premiership of her own this season.
Certainly be looking towards that as we get another ball up. That's Quirk up against Windbanks, and Windbanks wings out with a height advantage. The Basin have the run this time. Looks towards Brotto, who's playing high. She flips her opponent. She's got the run, but playing in front there is Decker, who gets it out for Boronia. And there's McCage, just gets the kick away, heads, and she finds Phillips with a great contested mark there at half forward. Sends them inside 50. Contest forming, Alston's at the bottom of it though, so the Basin will clear. Kicks up towards their forward 50. Again, Brotto, she's looking to come into the game a little bit more, but playing behind, I think it's got Leapson with the run. Here's Miller, and she's well tackled by Carroll. We'll have another ball up where we started this second quarter, back in the middle of the ground.
Basin 7 plays Boronia 19. Just over 7 minutes gone here in the second term. Big ball to be won here for Donnelly. Can't though. Got Leapson of the Boronia variety. Tries to get involved. Boronia can send it down their way. Kick looking for Davidson. Picks it up cleanly, although she was tackled by Cahill. What does the umpire say? I think he's elected to grab the Sharon himself and pull it away from the centre wicket, which is a little bit unusual unless there's actual AstroTurf in the middle of the ground. So a little bit fascinating there. As the Basin, they try and send handballs left, right, front, behind. We'll go down to the boundary.
Just in the centre there, there's a deep divots.
Oh dear. Okay. So the turf management. The deft touch was for Greenhalgh, but she missed it. Weldon tried to gather there as well. Decker in there hard. She's been tackled by two players. One of them, of course, was Carroll.
She's a little lucky
in
there,
fact,
Davidson.
Sorry, it was Brooke Priest. Up we go again. Wimbanks and Quirk. Wimbanks wins it this time. Win, get it? Haha, fair enough. Priest in there. So is Grimmett. Tackle laid by Miller. And it was high. One team gets around it and the other one doesn't, as is the case with footy. And Emily Cahill has the footy at halfback. And yes, it is. She sends it down to the hot spot. Kick was looking for a teammate, and they're going to just drag it down. In fact, it wasn't Cahill, I'm sorry. That was McDowell sending it down there. My bad, looked at the wrong sheet. But, nevertheless, the Basin have it where they want it for the moment, but Boronia are going to bring it back.
She's given them good run in this quarter so far, McDowell. Really good off half back as the ball heads up the line, and it's Glare at the bottom. Davidson tries to pick it up, but she's well tackled. It's pretty difficult to find any clear space in this game. Got Leapson's around the footy as well, and we'll have a ball up on true centre wing. So Winbanks just taps it forward, can't find anyone. Quirk tries to shark the ball. She kicks it forward.
That's great play.
It is, and great vision.
Oh, look out.
Finds Slater, and she's dealt with after she marks that ball. Nothing doing for the umpire. Slater heads inside 50, and there's a bit of contact after the ball as well. I heard a whistle, did I?
That was from Maroondah Nets right over there.
It was.
Plenty of that happening. Lots of netball action.
As the Basin look to rebound 50, a pack forming. Slater in front again. She makes a good contest against 3 Basin players. Watts there, as is Donnelly. And we'll have another ball up.
So Decker hands it over. We're inside the centre square once more. Monk to do the ruck duties this time. Gets a successful tap in the direction of Baker, who had to leave it behind. Ball at ground level. Anyone's ball at this stage. Boronia still come out with it. That was great work from Decker. Tried to handball to Gottlieb's into open space. Picked it up. Going to send it inside 50, or no, not quite. Kick was over the head of Miller. Still, they managed to get inside 50, but only just. As coming out with it as McDowell, sending it to way, way open space, but they've only got Basin teammates trying to help out. That was a great dodge. They're on here. Baker, inside 50, can find any target.
Brotto.
Oh no, the main target dropped it. I think it was Brotto. Ball at ground level, but this is exactly where they want it right now. And this is the time for their guns to shine. Up goes the footy. Hits the deck. Boronia have got assistance though, and they might be able to clear it. Winbanks is trying to get involved. So was Gottliebson of the Basin variety. Boronia, though, might just clear it out. Alston marks 48.5 from goal. Has she got the legs?
I think she'll just about get it, but she's gone to half back in this quarter, has Alston, to find a bit of footy, and she's played really well in the last few minutes.
This would bring the house down if she could send it over, and she's going for it, but she might find someone in the hot spot. Outright field of goal she has.
Stringer.
2 goals this season, 13 out of 14 home and away appearances. A relatively tight angle, but this will keep them in it. 7 plays 19.
Skinny.
And now 8 plays 19. 12 and a bit minutes gone here in the second term. 1-2-8 the Basin, 3-1-19 Boronia. 11 points in it. And the sun is shining here at H.E Parker. We love to see it, Dylan Smith.
Salante brings us back in for Boronia. They're under intense pressure in this second quarter. The Basin have really come to play. She heads towards Rachel Quirk, who wins another contest against Stringer there. Flicks a handball out. Here's Stevenson on the ground. She gets a handball out, but Watt collects it for the Basin. Heads inside to numbers. Alston's there. She's tackled. And we'll have another ball up. Monk's going to do the ruck duties for the Basin this time against Quirk. Against Decker, in fact. He's got Leapson. She's tackled. Finds Phillips. Phillips just flicks a handball out to the running Greenolg. She doesn't have too many options of field. And that's reflected in who marked the ball, which is a Basin player in Weldon. She looks inside 50. Winbanks is there, but she overruns it. And it's gotten deeper there. The Basin still find it, and it's a nice dashing run. She shoots a goal. And again, gone to the skinny side. And again, Boronia will bring us back into play.
They will indeed.
They've got some momentum in this quarter, do the Basin.
So 139, sorry, plays 3-1-19. And I think we've just about identified the scoring end as Paige Dean comes on the field, but wasn't in the direction of the contest. She decided to find her player. Almost gets ready to receive the footy. Out the back. Wasn't hers to be, though, but Boronia with the crispiest of ball movements at the moment. Tried to gather there was Collins, the goal scorer recently. But the Basin have the numbers. Just cut off momentarily, though. Slater on the edge of the square. Sent it towards Dean. Not to be. And this is Grimmett. Sent it out to the opposite broadcast wing. Stolen by Boronia. And they're going to easily enter inside 50. Dean on the opposite side of the ground. Comes in. Kicks now looking for McMahon. Unsuccessful. Basin to rebound.
And it's Alston again, as she's gone to half back, and she's been really strong there for them. She just looks up the line. She's got some numbers over there, but no one in particular. There's plenty of Boronia players there just to wrap them up, and we'll have another ball up. There's Paige Dean. She's been lively as well. Just came on the ground and got a possession straight away. Winbanks is there, gets the tap out. Palms it down to Watt, who tries to run. Alston lays a tackle, and we'll have another ball up. Just notice the matchup there between Brianna Donnelly and Rachel Slater, and she's putting a lot of body on Rachel Slater, really making her earn every kick that she gets. As the Basin look to go forward, Rachel Kirk playing in front, tries to tap it down, but the Basin have the numbers. Rachel Watt's got it, she kicks inside 50, Brotto comes to it, but she's led to the ball by Salente. She's played it really well, Salente, tackled by Brotto. Here's Winbanks, gets a pick up, feeds it back to go forward. They head inside 50, but Decker's there. She cuts it off for Boronia, heads up to centre wing. Here's Greenhall, and she's got pace. If she can beat a player, she does, but she's well tackled. And that'll be holding the ball. Free kick to the Basin through Alston, I think it is, Jono.
Let's go down to the boundary with Kate Green.
Number 50 for the Basin, Samagas, has just returned to the on the field.
Thanks for that, Kate. Great trainer in your own right. Sending it inside. The centre square, right on centre wicket. Things are going to go to a brief halt as Priest, I think, was wrapped up with it in the end. Right on centre wicket then. Umpire balls it up. Slater in and under, twist, turns, manages to get the handball away. Gottliebson, I think it was. And then Watson just trying to clear it out. In the end, it was McCage sitting on top of Samagas, who, as Kate said, just came onto the ground. Big chance now for the Basin. One-on-one, ball at ground level. Who's ball to win? I'll tell you what, reckon Murrell's got onto this one. Bouncing footy, is it still in? Play on and touched.
That was a really clever tap on by Brotto.
Right on the death.
Did you see the little deft tap by Brotto, just to knock it out into space?
That's pretty clever, and that's football smarts at its finest. The Roeville Premiership player from last year. The score, of course, now 1-4-10, the Basin. Trail Boronia 3-1-19. Inside 18 minutes.
Salente brings us back in, and a really strong mark taken there by McCage. She heads up the wing. It's actually heading in more centrally, and the Basin pick it up. It's a dangerous place to kick it. Heads inside, Winbanks is there. She's going to get this at ground level, just sockers it off the ground, and Brotto's marked it, has she? She's kicked the goal anyway.
That's your goal of the day right there.
That is the goal of the day, and that is the Basin's second. And they'll go 2-4-16 to Boronia 3-1-19. We have a game on our hands.
We do indeed.
Boundary.
Let's go down to the boundary.
The intensity from both sides with their tackle and second, third and fourth efforts has really upped this quarter.
Absolutely. And we are in for a very, very, very fascinating second half here at H.E Parker. This is the place of absolute thrillers in the Deakin University Women's competition in the AFNL. This time in the middle it was Quirky won the tap down, but it went backwards. Stalemate. We'll do it again in that same centre circle. And, well, Quirk's got to fire up here. You watch, she's charged and then sort of left it behind for Monk. Still, it's worked in their favour. Quirk sends it inside, looking for Dean. Missed her just. And also missed the chest of Burton Putz, who gets involved for the first time today. Davidson is chasing as the Basin just try and bring it out. It's a ball along the ground. Hard ball to be won here. On the deck there was Corrigan. As the Boronia Hawks just try and inch back, but they're not going to be able to.
Free kick.
Burton Putz has it. And she sends it back to where it was of sorts. Albeit the umpire's going to come in and ball it up on opposite side of wing near what we'll say is the third centre circle from broadcast position. Yes, Kate?
Boundary, that was improper disposal going Boronia's way.
Thank you.
As Grimmett tries to drive the Basin forward, but she can't. She's tackled. A bit of a scrum forming down near that third centre circle, as you said, Jono. So we'll have another ball up. Rachel Quirk. And there's the halftime siren. That come up on us pretty quickly.
It did indeed. It was a quick one too, but...
It's been a very intense quarter, guys, so
Yeah.
it's going
that's
really
the thing.
fast.
That's the thing, you lose track of time, don't you? But it is half-time here at H.E Parker in the second semi-final. The score, Basin 2-4-16. Trailing Boronia this time by only 3 points, 3-1-19. Analysis and a lot more to come right after this. See you very soon. Footy fans, welcome back to the Deakin University match of the round. It's the second semi-final in Division 1 between the Basin and Boronia. The score, if you've just joined us, the Basin trail by 3 points, 2-4-16 to Boronia 3-1-19. My name's John O'Ven. It's a pleasure to be with you once again. Joined by Dylan Smith, my co-commentator for this morning. Let's recap the goal kickers just briefly. For the Basin, only scored 2. The vice-captain, Jamie Monk, and the superstar, the 47-goal superstar, in fact, Danielle Brotto, who's got a lot to say in this second half, I feel. She's also got the single. And for Boronia, Rachel Quirk out of the blocks early with the first goal of the game. Steph Phillips and Tamlin Collins. Let's get some thoughts on the halftime break from Dylan Smith.
Yeah, I thought at the beginning Boronia really were able to give that run. They got on top around the contest, and just in that second quarter there, the Basin were able to get back in the game, and they did it through some of their star players. Julia Baker was really good. Rachel Watt, fantastic. And if they can keep that up for the next 2 quarters, I think they'll be able to run over the top of Boronia, but I think it's going to be a close one, Jono.
Yeah, I do love a close one, especially at H.E Parker. We had an absolute ripper between Rowville and Park Orchards last year in Division 1. Now, of course, Rowville were promoted to Premier Division and then fortunately couldn't field a side this year. So you had a bit of talent like, obviously, Danielle Brotto come and play for another side, and there are a handful of others. And even in the coaching department, you had reigning premiership coach Leanne Gill join her former side from way back, the Eastern Devils. She was coach of East Burwood at the time, around about 2009, 2010-ish. So Rowville players are still being used to well and great effect. Let's head down to the boundary with Kate Green.
I'm just in the process of grabbing Mark, and then I'll quickly grab Scott afterwards. Okay.
No worries. Well,
just on Brotto,
hi,
Jono.
Scott. What was your message to the girls at halftime?
Sorry, this is Mark. Scott's this. That's all right. All good, all good. Just to keep going, I think we really turned the tides in that quarter. The intensity really lifted. Our tackle count was way up. So just be careful of the clearances. That was one of the things we need to work on. But other than that, very happy with that quarter. It was a good response.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, Mark. I'm having nerves as well. Okay, just quickly down to Scott now. Sorry, guys.
no worries. So we'll hear from Scott very, very soon. And if it's any consolation, Kate, I'll explain a little bit later where the name Scott comes in terms of AFNL commentary when it's not supposed to be said. That's okay. Have you got Scott down there, Kate?
Yes, Scott's just coming now. Scott, what was your message to the girls at halftime?
I think we just want to take a few more risks. I think we probably took our foot off the pace of the game a little bit then and allowed them to just make it really contested. So we just want to see the girls taking more risks. We are enjoying ourselves most when we're playing aggressively and having fun out there. So we just want to get back to that in the start of the second half.
Thank you.
Thanks very much,
All
Kate.
the best.
Thanks very much, Kate and Scott Nicholas, and indeed Mark Ice and Vice. Of course, Kate, I might just mention that last year Blake called Jared Scott when he wasn't supposed to in the Premier Grand Final. But let's sleeping dogs fly, I guess, in the centre of the ground. The game continues here, and it's the Basin to bring it high, up and under. It was Gottliebson there for Boronia who left it behind, and they're just inching very, very close. The Basin might be a chance here, although there's an umpire's whistle, and they are indeed a chance. Here we go. And it's the Basin's first chance to get a lead, but does go across the face, and now here's another chance.
That's through.
Is a ripper!
Goal of the day.
Well, that's another goal of the day, contender, all right. And I think that's Lily Murrell as well.
Yeah,
so that's
number 39.
That's her first.
Gentlemen, I'm just glad to get the nerves out this early in the finals.
Well, that's all right, Kate. You've done a ripper job this season. Well, now that is a great start for the Basin, albeit I'm not sure how it's going to go for Scott Nicholas and his team trying to take risks, Dylan Smith.
Yeah, as we go back to the centre of the ground, and Phillips does the tackling job there, and the handball's still flicking around. Alston gets it out here, playing a bit of pinball in there. Here's Watt. She gets a bit of space, and she just throws it on the boot. She's looking for Murrell, that player, again, but this just trickles out, and it'll be a Boronia kick on the wing. Taken here by
April Glare.
April Glare. She looks afield. She hasn't got too many options. I reckon she's going to pop it up to the contest. Is the ruckman in Winbanks. She makes a good fist of it, but Grimmett picks it up at ground level, and it's a Basin that look to have the run. Heads towards Samagas, who takes a good strong mark. Swings around on that left foot. Here's Brotto. Brotto's in front. She gets held back a little bit there. Decker's first to it. Murrell again, flicks it out to Brotto, and the Basin get the second goal of the third quarter, and they mean business.
Well called, Dylan. That was Danielle Brotto, just perfectly positioned. She knows how to do that. A fine exponent of the rebound goal. It doesn't get any better from that. Let's go down to Kate Green.
Sorry, Jono. Just from a really sluggish start at the beginning of the first quarter to this, it's almost like there's a new team on the field.
It does feel like that somewhat, and I tell you what, Mark said, that the girls just need to keep smiling, and I tell you what, they're well and truly smiling at the moment, if not for Steph Phillips, who tried to send it in towards Dean, but it's come back, and the Basin can launch another counter-attack. Boronia, though, do have the numbers in midfield, so it's a big, big task here for the Basin to try and clear it. Dean, I think it was Slater, sent it towards the paint. Greenhalgh dodged one, then lost it, then tried to gain it back again. No, that was Perrott in there as well. Now here's Dean again. Dispossessed, wasn't penalised. The Basin try and bring it out, but only as far as Slater. 60 from home, pushed off the football by Donnelly. The umpire's going to come in and ball it up. It's a very flowing contest like I've never seen before. This is just incredible.
Stuff. As Boronia get the clearance through Rachel Slater. She heads inside 50. She's got targets down there. Playing in front. And I think that's Greenhalgh there at the foot of the ball. Davidson, she flicks a handball out to Greenhalgh. Greenhalgh's tackled, is it high?
No.
She gets a handball out. Number 45, McDowell. And Davidson once more. There's a bit of a scrum forming, and I think we'll have a ball up eventually. It's end-to-end stuff at the moment.
So the interesting thing to note here, Dill, is if you look at the formation of the field, there's a lot of one-on-one contests around the ground. Therefore, they want open space footy, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. Now, the umpire, I think he's called it back. No, he hasn't. It's a Basin free kick.
That fitness of the Basin that the coach spoke about coming to the floor here, they're really running on top of the ground at the moment, but Gottliebsen looks to intercept this ball. She's well tackled there by Grimmett. Holding the ball.
Oh, well, nah, I don't really agree with that. I mean,
it was a bit stiff, wasn't it?
Where was the prior opportunity? Go for it, Kate.
The tackle was to the side, so it wasn't in the back.
Oh no, of course not. But there's a matter of prior opportunity which comes into question, and she just got the football. But nevertheless, the Basin, they just try and clear it out, and they've done a good enough job. 60 from their defensive line. Quirk wins the tap out in the glare direction. She did pick up the footy and then lost it again as the rolling maul picks up again. But the umpire elects to ball it up, and he's going to do so very quickly as the rucks come to meet it. Quirk and Winbanks works in favour of Phillips. Inside the paint, over the back for Dean. Potentially Greenhalgh is in there as well. Alston gets the hand pass off to Baker, I think it was. Inside the centre square now.
Stringer.
And it's Stringer. Gets the hand pass off to her teammate. Kicks slightly further afield. Kick missed the Boronia defender. This is end-to-end stuff at its finest, if not for the Boronia defender in Decker, who sent it across the face. They're going to go alongside the outside wing here. So it's Salante in the direction of Gottliebsen, who's chasing, and they'll get penalised as the ball finds touch, the Basin, to bring it in here.
So they'll look to go forward once more, the Basin. Been fantastic to start this third quarter. Exactly what the doctor ordered. Donnelly's underneath that one, but she's well spoiled by Slater. Coming through, and we'll have another ball up just by that third centre circle. It's 4-4-28 to Boronia, 3-1-19. Alston's heavily tackled there by Quirk. Picked up by Greenhold. She flips a handball out. Julia Baker's there. She just tries to get a kick away, but she can't find the boot. And that's going to be incorrect disposal and a free kick to Boronia as they look to go inside 50. Rachel Quirk's there. Greenhold's there. She looks for a player running by.
They need this right now.
They really do. Heads to the top of the goal square.
Over the back,
There's a spinning movement, but the Basin intercept. And they just look for an exit, but there's not really one there. There's Boronia players everywhere, and they look to come back inside. This time it's Blair.
A 3-on-1 here.
It is, and the Basin players done fantastically well there to wrap that up for a ball up.
One of the great plays of this game, that was Dylan. And, well, this is Boronia's best chance as the Rucks go at it. Over the back is Gottliebs, and she's had so much the footy, and she's been pinged.
Twice in a row.
She just got the football.
No,
Go for it, Kate.
she dropped the football, so it was incorrect disposal.
A bit stiff nonetheless. So McCage has it, luckily for Boronia. Centering ball for Salante. Couldn't pick up the footy. In fact, she did. She sent it inside. Cut off, though. Julia Baker, one of the legends of this team. Sends it across, outer side broadcast. Picked up well. They send it in, Boronia. Only as far as Burton Puts, who has it, and now she's going to reconsider her options. But the field is pretty well set here, Dylan.
The Basin structure since quarter time has been fantastic behind the ball. They've gone for Alston, Julia Baker behind the ball to really shirl them up. But there has been a mark taken inside 50 for Boronia.
Just
taken.
It was.
Throws it into the dangerous area. Watt's there. She can't get any ball. And a heavy tackle laid. I think it's by Talbot, who's also pushed back.
I feel
Dylan, that was more of a hug.
It was a hug. Good way to describe that as we get another ball up. Quirk's first to it there. There's Basin players at ground level. Davidson for Boronia picks it up, handballs it to a dangerous area. There's a lot of bodies around it. Who can get it out? This is Greenhold. She snaps it on the boot, puts it to another dangerous area, but Alston's there for the Basin. She lays a good tackle on Rachel Slater, and it's another drop ball, holding the ball. And the Basin's pressure's been hot in the third term.
Well, this is huge for them, isn't it? Kick goes in the Brotto direction. McCage puts on the defensive effort to try and lock it in. Down at ground level there is Watt again. And, well, another shot here for Boronia. They need to convert past the halfway mark of the third term here at H.E Parker in the second semi-final. McCage, ground level again. Nothing doing. 55 from home. Quirk this time gets the deft touch. It's going to find the paint, just. But a kick out from the Basin. Could only go as far as McKernan, who sent it back inside. Now a chance here for the Basin. Kick was in the McDowell direction. Boronia still have all the numbers. A chance to go inside 50 if McKernan can be effective here. Gottliebsen gets it up. Inside the paint once more, but only as far as that Basin defender. And
big collision down there in that last contest.
We'll stop play for a moment. As you could see there was a big collision. Let's go down to the boundary with Kate. Kate, what did you see out of that one?
It was basically just two Boronia players on Basin. It was just all a bit of a scrap. Number 45 is now coming off for the Basin to be assessed.
Jessica McDowell, I believe it was. And the Basin will take the kick in their defensive 50. I think we're just waiting for her to come off the ground as play begins. The umpires just told her to hold things up until we get the player off the field.
As they should.
Absolutely. And it's been a rampaging third quarter here for the Basin. They've been intense around the footy, and Boronia are going to have to try to get back into this game. She looks for a target. Phillips is there for Boronia to try to intercept, as is Watt.
Oh dear.
Socket off the ground there by Miller for Boronia, and the Basin will get the kick. Last touch. No. Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. So game awareness probably comes into play here. Kick from that player there, Corrigan, was off the side of the boot. Samargas is in there as well. After the packed form, but the umpire said nothing doing. Greenelge handed it back.
Just a bit of a lull in this one since that intense start to the quarter.
Also, Deco missed it, so it's a chance for the Basin to come and rebound. Brotto on centre wing. Gets it inside the paint, cut off though by McCage.
She's been fantastic this quarter, McCage.
Oh, she's been absolutely on fire. So McCage has got Solante presenting. Finds her. So options are presenting left and right. Might want to go back to McCage. She does.
Bit of
The
waxing.
switch is on here. She can be quick. And it is. Just. So here's Glare. Sending it well across, although not really in the direction of any intended target. So Glaire's going to try and collect it back. Got, Solante again. And there's another Boronia player in there as well. Dribbler along the ground. Decker tackled and tried to challenge. Was lucky not to get picked. Samargas tried and failed. Short kick. It's in the hands of Parrott. Parrott goes inboard. They've got open space here now. Miller sends it inside, although not quite. It's a little bit off the side of the boot. Now there's a bit of open space here for Dean to run. Dodged one perfectly. Now inside 50. A one-on-two contest in favour of the Basin. They have the numbers, so they'll probably be able to clear, but only as far as Greenelge and her opposition player. Greenelge tried to get the hand pass up to Parrott, but Gottliebson tried to help. Parrott now sends it goalward. Mark was almost taken there by Talbot. As it just peppers away along the goal line. Now I can see also that Collins is, she was down on the ground. I think she's up, which is good news. But the play comes in, which is a little bit unusual. Favours Boronia for the moment. And the mark is well taken there by Ebony Miller, who can rebound for the Hawks. So Miller sends it to the hot spot.
Good mark.
And a mark is taken by Julia Baker. Who else? She goes across. And they're well and truly out here. Or are they? Go for it, Dylan. Let's go.
Samargas under intense pressure, but she's able to get the handball out. Comes back inside to Alston. Alston looks for a ruck there at the side. She can't pick it up, and the Boronia get the ball back towards their 50. And that's a great mark there by Stephanie Phillips.
Boundary just quickly.
Go for it.
Number 45 for Basin. She's okay. She will return to the field.
As Corrigan takes a huge intercept mark there for the Basin. Flicks it out wide, and another strong mark taken there. And they're really good aerially, are the Basin. That's been on show today. As Carroll gives a lead, but she just puts it up, and Rachel Quirk just says, I'll have that.
So Quirk, as options presenting, has got Solante at right angles, but elects to go inboard. McCage had a lot of the footy. Now she sends it inside 50. Who can get a mark? No one in particular. They had to leave it behind. Chasing it now is McMahon. And the ball is still somewhat in dispute, but the Basin can kind of clear it, if not for Joan Decker, who takes a mark.
In range?
And she's got her opposition player moving with her inside the protected area, but the 25-metre penalty not given away. Decker looked for Greenelge, couldn't quite, but she's lurking. Greenalge picks up the football. Got Liebson for company, although there's a whistle and the umpire
Just a ball up.
elected to ball it up when he probably didn't need to, in fairness. Decker, not the tap down, but it's a Basin footy, and they've got acres of space ahead, but they elect to slow the play for the moment.
They do. As Carroll calls for the ball in the centre, but she just pumps it up the wing. Samagas at the back here, but the umpire's found a free kick. It's going in the direction of Winbanks.
She was pushed in the back.
She was pushed in the back. A bit outsized there was Gottliebsen, and just had to shove her to try to get into the contest. She looks for a target. Can't find anyone. The ball goes to ground. He's Gottliebsen who follows that one up. She gets a kick away to Decker. Decker just throws it onto the boot. There's not really anyone there. I think it's Julia Baker who tracks this one. She'll send it back the way that it came. And a fantastic mark taken there by Gottliebsen, just intercepting in the centre of the ground. She goes on,
17 and 45 gone, don't forget.
just a couple of minutes to go in this third quarter. Can Boronia put another one back on the board? Gottliebsen again sends them towards 50. Oh, big contest there. But picked up on the ground is Kufel.
Here we go.
She goes on a run.
Oh,
She throws it over the top. Oh, the ball's...
Still a chance here.
They are still a chance. They've got numbers. Paige Dean. But it's a fantastic contest by the Basin player there. 15 metres out from goal. She puts her body on the line. And that's a goal-saving moment there for the Basin.
That player was number 25.
Thank you. 18 minutes, 27 seconds to go. 20 seconds gone. 28 plays 19. Basin in front.
Great intercept by Watt there. And it's thrown back in there by Kufel. She's been good. Davidson breaks the tackle. Goes towards goal, but
Misses.
she can't bring it back enough, and it'll be a kick to the Basin.
So it's almost as if the Basin are sort of commanding this sort of one-on-one style play for Boronia. They have to get on their players and trying to mobilise. But Boronia need to lock it in for the moment. Kick goes forward from Baker. Found the intended target. It's Watt. 45 metres out from her line. Sends it further afield, looking for -1 in Carroll. Davidson was in there providing the pressure. Quirk was at ground level. Umpire decides to cross himself and have the ball. 30 seconds to go here in the third term. This is where things get very interesting. Maybe a late chance for Boronia. Decker goes in the ruck this time. Tap along the ground was good by that Basin player. Phillips, Decker, bouncing footy. Gottliebsen, dodges 1, 2. Tried to get the hand pass away, albeit to ill effect. Umpire has paid a free kick to Boronia, but they might run out of time. Got to be quick. Got to be very quick. Miller to the hot spot. Bouncing footy. Here's a chance for Slater or Dean, whoever can get the footy, but it's all too late. Three-quarter time. The Basin win the premiership quarter. 4-4-28 leads 3-1-19. Three-quarter time here in the second semi-final of the Deakin University Match of the round. See you soon for the fourth quarter. Don't go anywhere. Three-quarter time here at H.E Parker for the second of 3 games today. In fact, maybe there's 3 or 4. It's the Basin and Boronia in the second semi-final of Division 1. The score, if you've just joined us, and I'm glad you did, it's 4-4-28, the Basin to Boronia 3-1-19. The goal kickers, of course, Jamie Monk and Danielle Brotto. And there's a third goal scorer there. I think it's Stringer, wouldn't it be?
The third goal scorer for Boronia?
Sorry, the Basin. I've been slightly behind
So
on my goal scorers. It's been such a great game, hasn't it?
I've got Monk, 2 for Brotto, and 1 for Murrell.
Thanks for that. So, oh, that's right. It is Lily Murrell. So, and it was a great one too. And then, of course, for Boronia, who haven't scored a goal for a while, their goal scorers remain Rachel Quirk, Steph Phillips, and Tamlin Collins. As the sun peeks out. Hey, next up in today's H.E Parker action, it is Division 2. Game between East Ringwood, undefeated all season, against the Surrey Park Panthers, who have had an absolute ripper this year.
Who have you got for that one, Jono?
Boundary.
I'm tipping an upset. Let's go down to the Boundary with Kate Green. Fire away.
I'm just heading to Mark to get his final quarter message to his team.
Thank you. It's good timing as well, considering that Scott Nicholas hasn't broken from his huddle.
Hi, Mark. Just wondering what your final quarter message to the girls was.
Keep tackling hard and smile while you're doing it. The pressure has been amazing from the team, and I think that's what's turned it for us.
That last quarter was amazing from your team. What do you put that down to?
Effort, want, desire. They've been working hard all year, and I think they want some respect for it. So, yeah, it's time.
All the best. Good luck.
Well done, Kate. That was very well executed, and you're heading down to Scott. So
Absolutely.
So looking forward to hearing that. And I'll tell you what, Mark couldn't have said that any better. That's exactly what they're doing. They're smiling and tackling. They're enjoying the third quarter, and they were justified winners of that one. Scott Nicholas not too far away as we get ready to go for the final term. Kate, you're not too far away from him either.
No, he's just shaking hands with his supporters at the moment. Scott, are you free? Just wondering what your final message for this quarter is for the girls.
We just got to attack, a couple of goals down. We're not going to win the game by just going back and going up the line. So, yeah, take risks, take the game on, play with confidence, and, yeah, see how we go.
How did you feel about that last quarter?
I think we had some opportunities, but probably just didn't make the most of them. So, again, I think we just got to take a more attacking mindset into this last quarter, and hopefully that results in a couple more goals. So, yeah, we'll see how we go.
Thank you, Scott and Kate. Well, they're attacking so far, Boronia, as play restarts here for the fourth quarter. They're inside 50, Boronia. 4-4-28 plays 3-1-19.
It looks like they've thrown Gottliebsen forward in this quarter as well.
Now, that is absolutely crucial. Wingbanks gets the thump, but it's only in the direction of McCage. And so Gottliebsen, the aforementioned, sits under it. Quirk throws it onto the boot. Is it going all the way? Well, it almost does. And the saving mark there from Talbot. Now, watch this. Do they know the rules of the game? It's got to be out of bounds. She's gone through. Oh, dear. Well, there you go. A bit of a quirk there. Speaking of Rachel Quirk, she's almost about to get the football. So a boundary ball up was supposed to happen there because she's gone through the behind line. Oh, dear. So still in the zone for Boronia here. And the Basin try and clear it out. But Quirk, she's fierce. Puts on the fierce tackle. Left the ruck contest behind, though, did Quirk, in the direction of Priest. Stringer picked up the footy, got the handball off to Murrell, and they're out here. High up and under. It's going to be a Boronia ball.
Great mark.
Marked very well. She's got Perrott for company. She elects to go down the line. Kick was looking for Collins. Couldn't quite. It's a ball in dispute, but it's a Boronia ball to win just at half-back there. Great tackle. Surely holding the ball. And it is.
Stringer.
Stringer with a great tackle. just go for home.
Pops it up.
She does pop it up indeed. But we've got a stalemate. And this is very crucial for the Basin. Dylan Smith far away.
Monk does the ruck duty. She just taps it out into space. Salante is there for Boronia, as is Rachel Watt. Lays a great tackle. Tracks the footy herself. Just sort of dives on it there, but she's able to get a ball out. And the ball falls in the hands of Brotto, I think. I think that's a mark. Has the umpire paid that?
No, he hasn't.
He hasn't.
It's a ball up.
I think that was a mark. Maybe not far enough. Ball might not have travelled far enough, but that was very close. As Decker does the rucking against Monk in the forward line, and Decker wins out. Rachel Watts at the foot of the ball for the Basin again. She's over the top of it, well tackled by Steph Phillips, and we'll have another ball up inside the attacking 50 there for the Basin. So they look to go forward once more. Thought I heard another whistle there. Steph Phillips, she's tracking the ball. She's got space in front of her. Kicks it out in front of Gottliebsen, who's pushed forward in this quarter. She goes on a run, and she's well tackled by Winbanks. Wrapped up beautifully there by the ruck. And she'll send the Basin back inside 50. So they have not stopped tackling in this second half. She looks up forward, kicks it to the hot spot. Steph Phillips is there. She tries to pluck it with one hand and can't. Falls to Collins. And that's a beautiful tackle as well.
Ooh, okay. What's the umpire decided to do?
He might have paid a push in the back. He has.
Yeah, so fair decision as well. Boronia to come out with it through Decker. They need to be effective, though. Down the line, kick looking for Gottliebsen. Winbanks was there for company. Slater got to run onto this one. The Basin do instead. And now here's Stringer, who can go for home. Set sail.
Inside out top.
And the Basin celebrate. They're not just smiling, they're cheering. They're on fire here.
If you guys could see the look on Mark's face as that goal went through, it was just of pure joy.
Couldn't have said it any better, Kate Green on the boundary. 5-4-34 the Basin to 3-1-19. And they might be on their way to a grand final. 15 minutes to go, though. What can Boronia do to respond? This is finals footy at its finest. The coaches are celebrating with fists in the air. They're happy. Here's Dylan Smith. Don't go anywhere, folks.
They'll need 3 goals, will Boronia. They're going to have to get on their bike. But Alston gets the clearance for Basin. They're riding a wave at the moment. Heads towards Stringer, who just kicked the previous goal. She's there again. She's got the ball. She flicks a handball out to Monk. Monk throws it on the boot. Brotto's lurking. Brotto pushes around. Brotto's kicked the goal! 21 points, and I think the Basin are home.
Brotto's going to play in another grand final.
Boundary, the Basin coach, Mark, if I had a small cam down here on the boundary, his little dance and fist pumps are getting better and better.
Oh, wow. Brotto might be going to another grand final, and she might be back-to-back premier. A back-to-back premiership player with 2 different clubs. I tell you what, as a player, there's no better feeling. And this, well, Boronia might have to wait until next week to respond. Out of the middle, Baker with the thumping boot inside 50. What can Decker do to respond? Had to leave it behind. Another chance here. Stringer's in there again. What can she do? Picks up the footy. Tried to kick it. Got it back. Tried to kick it again. Couldn't quite. Now Boronia have got to try and just run it over. Salante with the tackle. It's a sandwich tackle. Boronia's saving grace. Go for it, Kate.
Guys, there's only 6.5 minutes on in this, the final quarter. I wouldn't quite write off Boronia yet because, as we've seen in previous matchups, it's not over until the siren goes.
That is very true. But
I got a little excited there.
we do say might, referencing Danielle Brotto, but it's a very hard margin to come back from, given how well the Basin are performing. Winbanks with the tap that sees it into touch on the opposite broadcast wing, very close to the cricket nets. Dylan Smith, fire away, bud.
Very clever tap there by Winbanks, and they're riding some sort of momentum wave at the moment, the Basin. Clearance after clearance, but here's Steph Phillips for Boronia. She wants to get them back in it. Heads towards Gottliebsen, who just controls it at ground level, but she's well held up. And the game has really started to open up in this last quarter with both teams piling on pressure to get that win. Winbanks gets the tap away. Davidson's there for Boronia, as is Steph Phillips. And he's paid holding the ball on Steph Phillips there. That was not a lot of prior opportunity.
It's a big call.
It's a big call as the Basin go back inside 50. A lot of players lurking at the bottom of this pack. Alston's there. She comes flying over, picks it up. She's well tackled there by the Boronia player. Flicks it out. Winbanks. There's a big collision. Here's Greenold. Flying through there is Grimmett. And the ball's just flicking around. Rachel Watt can't get a passage through. And I think Steph Phillips at the bottom of that pack, and we'll have a ball up.
51 from
8 minutes gone.
The Basin goal, and Winbanks and Quirk do the ruck. Gottliebsen's brought to ground. Great tackle there laid by Jamie Monk. We'll go up again, right on the paint this time. Monk and Decker did the ruck work. Chance here for Boronia to clear it, although Grimmett was hot on that Boronia player's tail. Players fall at the football at ground level. Davidson picked it up, surely holding the ball it is. Lily Murrell, one of the best on ground today. Can just send it inside.
Great kick.
And it is a great kick indeed. It's up for Brotto, who went almost the hashtag save the dribble, but it's gone to the left side of the goal place.
She had more time there. She'd actually lost her opponent.
6-5-41 plays 3-1-19. 9 minutes gone here in the fourth term of the Deakin University match of the round. Second semi-final between the Basin and Boronia. It's the Basin currently winning. And they, as Kate said earlier, they're like a different team out here in the second half. But Boronia are going to come out through the defence.
Salante it was to bring them back in. Rachel Quirk kicks this, but it's come off the side of the boot. It's put them under a little bit of pressure, but they still get the clearing kick. And the pack of players forming underneath this one. It's Quirk again, just bobbling around in there. Still going, still going. Here's Slater. She finds some space, but handballs it back into traffic. Murrell's there to tackle. Decker's there. Decker gets the flying kick. Comes to ground. Collins is lurking. Monk tries to flick a handball out, but can't. Now she's just going to tear through, and she kicks it inside 50. Alston's there as she's pushed forward. But Gottliebsen will come to the rescue for Boronia. And we'll have another ball up. Inside 50 for the Basin as they press forward once again. Boronia just need to get their hands on the footy here. Winbanks goes up for the tap. And tackled there by Phillips is Stringer. Winbanks again gets the hit down. Heads towards Julia Baker. It's a clearing kick towards Decker for Boronia. They might have a bit of space if she can get the ball out to Slater, who's free. Here's Greenold. They've got the numbers. Greenold turns a player, sends them inside. Collins is there. Collins flicks a good handball out to Slater, who goes on a bit of a dashing run here. Pops it towards Paige Dean, who overruns it. And flying through there is the Basin player in Corrigan. She flicks it over to Priest. Here's Stringer again, gets the handball out. Baker heads inside 50. Winbanks is one out. Can't mark, well defended there. And over there is Kufel. Running through for Boronia. Sends it back.
Stringer's down. Oh, gee, that's...
I missed that one.
Okay, so Stringer's down. And... yeah, so unfortunately umpire had to stop there just because it was in the line of Stringer, who's...
Was that a collision, John?
On the ground. I'm not sure. Kate, can you give us more info?
Not at the moment till the trainers, but Boronia number 54's come off with a high cramp in her glutes.
Oh.
On the left-hand side.
Oh
so
dear.
she's now under trainer management. And I think we'll be just having an assessment and then determining whether or not the player for the Basin is either walked off or stretchered.
Now, the trainers, I can see one of them is clutching the, what it would be the left sort of quad. She's going to be helped up. Is Stringer. So not going to need a stretcher here, which is good news. The stringer will come off.
She's had a massive last quarter, has
Massive day. She's pretty much been so instrumental in this game, and if the Basin are to win, well, you'd hope that she'd be there on grand final day. Luckily, a week off will certainly help her injury concerns.
Will indeed.
So, umpire to restart things. 12 minutes, in fact, 13 minutes gone here in the final term. Basin 6-5-41, Boronia 3-1-19. In fact, it's going to be Julia Baker who has the football.
Corrigan.
In fact, no, not Julia Baker. Corrigan, 41-14 mixed up, as you do. Inside 50. Chance for McKernan, wrapped up. Up goes the footy again. Footy. Up goes the footy again. She can hear the applause from the Basin faithful. The stringer came off. The Hawks might be able to find a few consolation goals. Might be a bit too late for them now. Kick was good for Dean, who gets the hand pass away. Might get it back. Sandwich tackle there.
Boundary.
From Priest, and Donnelly will see another ball up. Go for it, Kate.
Number 44 for the Basin. If she isn't tracking over 50 for tackles, I would be really surprised.
Been amazing, has Donnelly, as Boronia get the ball through Greenall. She looks up for Phillips, but it's intercepted beautifully there by Weldon for the Basin, and she looks in the direction of Carroll, who's just gonna track this down.
Time and space.
She's overran it in the end.
Oh dear.
And Boronia get the ball coming off half back. They head centrally, and Decker takes a nice mark. They really need to build something from this play. As Decker looks up, she looks for Dean. Dean's outsized, but she takes a good mark, uses her body well in front there. Flips around. Winbanks is getting back in the hole though, but she's able to find Chin. She's had a bit of a quiet day by her standards, has Chin. She looks for Davidson. Davidson's there, brings it to ground. Slater's there too. But as is Baker, I think Phillips ends up getting the ball. But the Basin have the player on the line, the last line in fact, and they'll send us back in. This is through Talbot.
So Talbot moves it across, outside broadcast wing. Both players looking to get the footy, overran it. There's a chance for Basin to keep running. Watt played it, missed it. In there again is McMahon for Boronia. Kick off the ground is effective from, I think it was Phillips, albeit almost was in danger. Delta Greenog overran it. Tackle laid by Perrott. 70 from home. Chance for Boronia to potentially get a consolation prize or two. The Basin, as good as they have been in this second half. They move it out. Alston gets it back. 1-2 in the Brotto direction. Cleverly played by McKernan to throw Brotto off it. And they see it just in front of the garage doors there.
I feel they've actually played Brotto really well, Boronia, today, but she's still able to kick 3 goals across the game.
She's been a bit of a silent assassin of sorts compared to her previous performances, but she is going to be an absolute weapon on grand final day, make no mistake about that. Umpire to give a free kick to the Basin. In the Brotto direction, stolen. Very well by the Boronia defender, who tried to move along, and then she was pushed over. The umpire should have called play on. Didn't do it. Benefit of the doubt. And so Boronia can switch here.
And the last line of defence, they have the ball, Boronia. She looks up, heads towards Paige Dean, who's outnumbered there by 3 Basin players. She gets a little bit of support, and they'll be able to lock it in for another ball up.
I feel like Paige Dean needs just a little bit more help around the ground.
Yeah, she's really
doing a lot of work, but she just needs maybe that extra player or two just to sort of keep her company.
She needs that outlet.
Go for it, Kate.
34 for the Basin stringer. She's now being iced and looks like she will be referred for further assessment, just to be on the cautious side.
So she may or may not be available for grand final day, which is still 2 weeks away.
Well, we don't know that. It depends on, further assessment.
Yeah,
it's just
she may be
precautionary.
available. Yep, that's what I said.
Right.
So we'll go up again. And Boronia, well, they've toiled hard all day. We're inside the final 2 minutes here at H.E Parker.
The eventual margin here at 22 points doesn't reflect the tight contest that we've seen today.
Scoreboards just don't seem to reflect games like these at all, and we're often finding ourselves in positions where we say that the scoreboard doesn't reflect what's going on. Boronia trying to clear it out in defence, but the Basin have the numbers. They still managed to get away with it, though. I think it's Davidson from defence. Looks for Dean, finds her safely. Moves off quickly, further afield, down the line. The Basin can respond, though. They're going to do just that. Went over the intended target's head, but Donnelly can still make an impact on this one.
Boundary.
Go for it, Kate.
John, are you and Dylan thinking that this is kind of like this quarter's been a kind of a reversal of quarter one, where it was Boronia dominating and now it's the Basin?
Absolutely, like you've alluded to, Kate. They've well and truly turned it on this half, and well, deserved winners in the end for sure. As we enter the final minute, you're with Dylan Smith.
Gottliebson goes on a run, as she has so often. That's the way she plays. Gets away with it that time. Davidson flicks a handball into the centre. Greenall's there. We're inside the last minute. Kick back inside 50 for the Basin. They'll look for one more just for a cherry on top, but it's well intercepted there by Perrott from Boronia. She'll come out, but she can only go as far as Watt, who's going to send it back inside 50. 30 seconds to go. Can they get another goal? Watt throws it on the left boot. Brotto's down there. She's lurking at the back. She spins a player.
No way.
She gets a goal.
D. Brotto, 3 votes.
Wow.
You'll be playing in another grand final, Danielle. How does that feel? I bet it feels pretty good.
We were just saying that
unreal.
She hasn't had her usual influence, but ends up with 4 goals. Amazing. And there it is.
Amazing indeed. There it is. Mark Eisenweiss, take your hat off, sir. You have done unreal. Commiserations to Scott Nicholas, but the Boronia side gets to fight another day. A huge win for the Basin Bears, and they go on to play a grand final. Now, the next game, which is of concern, will be between the Park Orchards and North Ringwood in Division 1, if I'm not mistaken.
It will, and I think both of these sides, whichever one lost today, they would have fancied themselves in the next one, and you know, there's still a good chance that these two will play again in a grand final. And I don't think Boronia have lost anything from today. I think they really brought their best game. And
hey, let's head down to the boundary with Kate Green.
Okay.
Got both the coaches.
Okay. First of all, I'll just pop the headphones to Scott.
Thanks very much. So, Scott, thanks for joining us. Obviously, commiserations, but how do you reckon you'll go come next week, regardless of opposition?
We talked about it before the game. We like to build each week and take things out of each game that we can work on and apply the following week. So I think there's plenty of things we can take out of this game and apply it to next week. I think, you know, although the result didn't go our way, I think we'll still take a lot of confidence into next week. It's hard to win finals, but, you know, I think we can put some things in place over the week that fix a couple of things from today and go hard again at Park Orchards. Or North Ringwood next week.
One of the things that really worked really well for your team was Ali Gottliebson, who was just all around the ground, and big things to come for her in future games.
Yeah, she's a great player, and I think we had, you know, a number of players stand up when it got tough today. The Basin did a great job of applying a lot of pressure, and you know, we've got some really good hard contested players as well. So I think credit to the Basin today, and you know, Mark and the coaching staff did a great job of prepping their team for today, and yeah, we go again, and hopefully we'll see them in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, Scott, Dylan here. What do you think was the biggest difference in that second half? I thought you guys were probably the better team in the first half, and what was the biggest change that turned it around?
I think sometimes you just got to want the footy, and if you get your hands to it first, you know, you give yourself the opportunity for good things to happen. And I think the Basin did a great job of that around the stoppages, and then they didn't really give us much of a go when we moved the ball up forward. So, yeah, I think they did a great job, made it a really contested, hard game, and yeah, we look forward to hopefully coming up against them again in a couple of weeks.
Thanks very much, Scott. Commiserations. But on to next week.
Thanks,
onwards
guys.
and upwards.
Cheers.
Let's see if we can try and
Now
get
just
Mark
handing
Dyson
over to
Vice.
Mark of the Basin.
Now, this is tight because I know the girls are going to sing the song very shortly. But, mate, you're animated. What an incredible performance in the second half. You've done it. You're into a grand final.
Yeah, it's amazing. Got a little teary too.
Well, I tell you,
they're a great group of girls. They've worked hard all year. Yeah, and they just want some respect, and, man, they showed it today. They brought everything.
I'll tell you what, Mark, we're going to let you go. Go in there and enjoy the celebrations.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. Cheers.
Great work. Enjoy the grand final in 2 weeks.
Mark, love the dance.
Well said. So thanks for all your work down on the boundary, Kate Green. Well, that'll just about do us here at H.E Parker Reserve. Plenty of action to come over the weekend. Don't forget, action at Combi Reserve in the Premier Division, and it's absolutely everywhere, it's fair to say, Dylan Smith.
A lot of footy.
But what a performance by the Basin. Deserved winners in the end. Big things to come on grand final day. They'll be featuring here. But who's it going to be against, Dylan, do you reckon?
It's a really good question. To be honest, I haven't seen enough of Park Orchards to get a read on whether they can bring it to Boronia, but we know they have beaten them this season. So, you know, I've seen weirder results, but you'd have to back in that game, you'd have to back in Boronia with the form that they showed over the back half of the year.
Absolutely. Well, the fourth meeting might just be the ultimate in the best possible case, and I think we're all hoping that it might eventuate. But what an incredible day it has been here at H.E Parker for the second of 3 or 4 games here. There is so much footy action to come, especially in the Deakin University women's competition. But Dill, thanks for joining me, mate, and looking forward to next time.
Oh, I'm pumped, mate. This was a fantastic game. Great to start off the finals, and, you know, we're going to have many more across the journey.
Well, on behalf of Kate Green, Dylan Smith and John O'Van, and also Megan Green on the camera, until next time, it's bye for now.